Hello, everybody. Thank you for inviting me here. I'm very pleased to be here today. My name's Martin Jee. I'm a headhunter, and for the last 15 years, I've been headhunting software engineers. Software engineers. So I get paid by companies. To find them software engineers for them to employ. That's my job. I also set up Coding Future Women as an organization to tell young women like yourself all about what a career in software engineering might be like. Now, one thing you'll notice, and one thing I want to tell you straight away, is that you'll hear the words software engineering and developer and software developer and programmer all the time, and those three words will be used interchangeably. And that's because they all mean the same thing, okay? So a software engineer is a developer, a developer's a software engineer, okay? Now, today we're going to have four professional software engineers going to tell you all about what they do for a living, so you can understand a bit about the industry. But before they do that, I thought I'd tell you a little bit about what a software engineer actually is, or rather what they do. And the clue is in the name. So software, that's computer code, that's writing code, and you run it to make computer programs. Engineer, they're people that solve problems. So I'm fed up with walking up and down this hill, I'll build a tunnel to go straight through it. I need to get from Manchester to London in a day, I'll invent a steam train that will get me there on time. That's what engineers do. So software engineers write computer programs that solve problems. Or rather, they solve problems by writing computer programs. And we use computer programs in our lives all the time, every day. So imagine you go home tonight, you tell Siri to turn the lights on, you get your smartphone out, you watch a TikTok video, you see a dress on there that you really like, you go onto H&M, you try and find something similar, you buy it, and then you get your receipt in your inbox. Well, each step of that journey, you'll be coming into contact with computer programs that have been written by software engineers. It's machine learning engineers behind Siri, making Siri work. It's the e-commerce software developers have written H&M, that website. Payments engineers have been the ones who have written all the payment software. And then when you execute your payment, when you make the payment for that dress and you get the receipt in your inbox, you'll be coming into contact with passwords and cybersecurity written by cybersecurity software engineers. And so software engineers are the building blocks of our everyday lives. And so by choosing a career in software engineering, it's your opportunity to write the computer programs that you'll use in your everyday life. It's your chance to actually write the software that you use rather than just use it. And in doing so, you'll have an opportunity to build the future, to build everything you do in your life, okay? So, over to our first speaker, Grace Jansen, who works at IBM, and she is a Java champion. Yeah. Hand you over.
Right, there's a massive picture of me in case it wasn't obvious. Hi everyone, my name is Grace Jansen. I'm actually based down in Hampshire, but I've come up today just to say hi, speak to you all, tell you a bit about what I do, and how actually you might think of software development as sort of just sitting in the dark and coding all the time, and it's stereotypically thought of as quite a male-dominated industry, but actually there's loads of different roles out there, and there's a lot of different ways that you can get into software engineering. So actually, a bit about me, I actually went from a biology degree. So I didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up, when I was in school, but I was pretty good at the sciences, so I took all 4 sciences to A level, or AS level. So I did maths, physics, chemistry, biology. I really loved biology. I was like, yeah, I'll just be the next David Attenborough. It'll be great. But those roles are pretty few and far between. But I did it to university. This is me in the Caribbean studying coral reefs. It was a really interesting degree. But whilst I was doing that degree, I started doing some programming. So I was programming in things like Python and R. These are two languages you can use. And I was actually modeling what could happen in a biology simulation. So I was looking at how viruses spread through airlines, which is kind of topical given COVID. Kind of saw that one coming. But it was really interesting, and I really loved the software engineering part. So I decided to go on and do software engineering as a career. So I ended up joining IBM. Has anyone heard of IBM? Very few hands. Yeah, adults in the room, that's pretty much it. A couple of kids, okay, great. So IBM is a huge corporation. We're sort of worldwide. We've got more than, I think it's 500,000 employees. So it's a hell of a big business. And we do lots of different things, a lot of business-focused software. So I actually joined, this is where I work, in Hursley. It's a manor house down near Winchester. And I did the Extreme Blue Summer Internship. So I did a 12-week summer program where I learned 5 different languages. It was really being thrown into the deep end. And then from there, I went on to be what I am today, which is an advocate. So after I finished my biology degree, I went and joined the graduate program at IBM. And now, my role or my title is a developer advocate. So I work in software engineering, but I'm not, a full-time software engineer necessarily. I do a bit of coding, but I also do a lot of other stuff. So part of my role involves a lot of travel. I get to go to lots of different countries. I came back from Switzerland at midnight last night, so that was kind of a lot, and I'm off to Las Vegas on Sunday. So I do a lot of travel where I go and I present about software engineering, and I help developers use our technology. So far in my career, I've been to more than 30 different countries around the world, pretty much in every continent. So that's been pretty cool. Not Antarctica. Haven't quite found a conference there yet. But I've reached a lot of people through this. I do things like lectures, I speak on panels, I do coding workshops as well, so there's a bit of technical in there. I do things like filming, so I film videos, I've been in sort of ad campaigns, I've done technical workshop videos as well as interviews. I author content, so I've written a book with O'Reilly. I also have written several patents, so I'm now an inventor, which is a pretty cool thing to be able to say. And I've also written a lot of blogs, as well as the technical stuff. Because to be able to speak about this, I have to actually understand what I'm speaking about. So I do a lot of Java programming and looking at sort of enterprise applications, so big sort of banking applications, companies that are creating huge applications that are sort of behind the scenes. And I also do a lot of volunteering. That's why I'm here today, to volunteer my time, hopefully teach you guys about sort of different roles that are available in software engineering, and to show you that actually there's different routes into software engineering as well. What's made me successful? So I've been able to combine my love for biology with my love for software engineering. So I do a lot of presentations and blogs where I combine software with biology analogies. So looking at how beehives are actually really similar to some software architecture, and how containerized applications, as a sort of concept in software engineering, is really similar to cells in the body. So it's by combining both of my loves that I can actually provide a brand new perspective in software engineering that people find interesting. What's this led to? I've been really fortunate that I get to have a lot of recognition for what I do, so I've won some awards. I've gotten to go on stage and do lots of different presentations and hosting people, and getting to be sort of given awards like Java Champion, which is sort of a global award for Java developers. So that's kind of where I've been, where I'm going. I'm 28 years old, so I've still got a long while in my career, judging from the retirement age that's still going up. So I've got a while to figure that out, and that's the nice thing. Recently, I just completed my MBA. So after school, I went and did an undergraduate degree at Exeter University, and then I went into the world of work, and I actually didn't know much about business. So I was like, do you know what would be helpful is doing a degree on business. So I went and did an apprenticeship. So instead of studying full-time, I studied part-time alongside my job, studied at the University of Winchester, and studied for a master's in business. So this has given me a really good insight into how I could combine software engineering and my understanding there with business to potentially help run or run parts of the business in the future. So building on that, I'm kind of figuring out what I want to do next. The nice thing about tech and the tech industry is stuff is changing all the time. So roles that exist now didn't exist 5-10 years ago. And roles that will exist in 5-10 years' time don't exist now. So it's a really exciting place to be able to explore and figure out, actually, you can change your career all the time and sort of constantly evaluate where you want to go with it and switch and change it up. So at the moment, I'm in software engineering, but I'm thinking about, maybe I could be a manager, or maybe I could do product management and look at the strategy of our business and go down the business route instead. So kind of trying stuff out and figuring out where I want to go next. And that's the nice thing is, even as a full-time employee, I've been in the business 7 years, I don't know either. And that's kind of exciting because I get to decide and it's very dynamic and fluid. So the rest is kind of open. So with that, I think I've taken up my 12 minutes. Thanks for listening. Hope it was interesting.
Thank you, Grace. Now we have Rashi Saxena. Rashi is head of DevOps engineering at WorldPay.
Where is the... Oh, sorry, I didn't have that. Okay, cool. Perfect.
Hi, everyone. How are you? Good? Okay, let's just get this started. Brilliant, okay. Brilliant, okay, cool. So, before coming here, I was all set to talk about top 10 reasons why you should be joining tech. And then I spoke with my goddaughter, okay, and I said, oh, this is what I'm going to do there. And she said, oh, this is too boring. And I'm like, what? And she said, no, make it a bit more fun and make it a bit more interesting. So I don't know about fun. Maybe we can wait for the last slide, but definitely going to make it interesting for you. So where we are today, I mean, come to think of it, I don't really need to be telling you any reasons to join tech, because guess what? You already are living in tech and creating tech pretty much every day. I mean, let's start with, how many of you have used Alexa this morning to check the weather? Yeah, you did? How many of you have used Amazon on the last weekend to browse on something? You have. That's amazing. Oh my God, pretty much. What did you buy, guys? So we have been using tech pretty much every day. We're using Instagram, we're using TikTok, we're using Netflix, we're using smart meters. In fact, the car that I drove today, Tesla, I think you might have heard about it, is a smart car itself. It's a software-driven car. You talk about anything to do with pretty much everything that you use in your daily life that is all surrounded by tech. Not only you are using it, but you're creating ideas pretty much every day in your life. Have you thought about, like, sometimes if your pet gets lost, that I wish I have a tracker that could spot my pet, isn't it? Yeah, you sometimes feel like, oh, I've missed my house keys. I wish I could call my house keys so I don't have to fiddle in my bag and find out where the keys are. So I believe that not only you're using it, you're creating it pretty much every day. You just don't know how to do it, though. You don't know how to implement those ideas today. Is that correct? Yeah? You keep thinking about it, but you don't know how to do it. So today, I'm not going to be talking about top 10 reasons why you should be joining tech. I would rather be talking about what goes just beyond tech, okay? Which is breaking the barriers and smashing those stereotypes and claiming the world that you're living in, right? So my name is Rashi Saxena. I think you might see a picture of me here. This is the best picture I could find for myself, honestly. Oh, where did it go? Oh, that's the beauty of tech as well. If you do it too quickly. Yeah, okay. I'm Rashi Saxena. I'm heading a DevOps space I don't know what's going on here, but I'm working in a payments company called WorldPay. Have you heard about the company called WorldPay ever? Yeah? No? No one? Okay, so WorldPay is a company, it's a payments company. So next time, I'm definitely sure you're going to find a terminal which says WorldPay. So what do we really do? So when you go to a store like Tesco, Zara, H&M, you tap your card in, right? You buy something, you tap your card in. And then as soon as you tap your card in, the money gets deducted from your account and it goes to the merchant's account, right? Does that happen, right? And then if you don't have enough funds in your card, then the money doesn't get deducted. In fact, it says running low on your balance. Is that correct? Yeah? But normally, what happens is on these stores like Tesco's and Zara's and anywhere that you go, millions of transactions happen pretty much every day. Right? How does this happen? Any guesses? You don't have to wait there. You just tap your card in, something gets deducted, some money gets into other person's account, you walk out, and happy days. But this happens in millions of stores around UK, around the globe, instantly. And all that happens is by the power of code that runs in the back end. Right? And we write that code so that the customers, the merchants, never even feel a single second of delay, and everything just happens on your fingertips. That is the power of code, right? And I'm heading a space called DevOps. Now, I know this is like too much for you to absorb because DevOps, these are all very, very niche acronyms in the software industry, but let me break it down to you. So imagine you have a bakery shop, right? So let's say Sarah, who's my best friend, by the way, she loves to bake the cake. And she's a really good baker. However, when she started to think about, shall I take my idea to the next level of opening a business, was that enough to just bake the cake? No, right? There should be someone who can taste the cake, which is the testing of the cake, right? If the flavor's all right, if it's actually not too moist, not too hard. And then after you do that, so that's, Sarah is a developer, which is basically you can equate with someone who is coding, who's writing an app, whereas the other person who's testing it is someone who's a tester, who's also in the software industry. And the third person would be the ops guys, who would basically make sure that the temperature in the refrigerator is all right, and everything is just placed there for Sarah to sell their cakes and make some money out of it, right? So DevOps bridges that gap between the dev and the test and the operation industry so that everything happens automatically without you even thinking about it. Does that make sense? So this is the organization that I work for. But here's the thing. Is that what I always wanted to do? No. Right? I started my career, I had done my engineering in electronics and communication, which is a totally different field than software, as you can imagine. I have done my post-graduation, in fact, in marketing, advertising, and journalism, which is absolutely a different field than electronics and communication. But I landed myself in a software engineering job. And it's only because I was very, very curious about what happens in the back end. In fact, when I was 15 or possibly 14, I remember we used to be living in that era where we would have like a couple of phones in the entire family, not having every person, the privilege to have or to own a phone. So I would always wonder to myself that every time I run out of balance and I use this scratch card, what happens there? How does my phone know that I've got the new recharge? I was very young, I had no idea. But guess what? I landed my first job in software telecom company. Not only I got to know how to do all of the stuff in the back end, I actually was innovating and creating more ideas to make that industry a better place. Yeah? So this is how this is why I think Grace also mentioned the same thing, that you don't really have to know everything when you're starting up, but what you should be aware of the fact that how change is important and how you can embrace the change, but still savor the present, but always be very, very open to learning and very, very open to experimenting various stuff that you can try, So I think there's a bit of a mess up in the slides for sure. I should have tested it here. But the other thing is, when I did my DevOps and all of the software industry thing that I'm talking about, after that, guess what I'm currently doing? I got to marry my passion for tech with my other passion or my dream, which is on fashion. So I own a blog at the moment. It's a fashion blog. And it is making me not only the money, but also giving me satisfaction. And the reason why I was able to do that is because I know code, I know tech. It was so easy for me and so handy for me to do everything that it takes to set up a blog, to do its administration, to talk about it. In fact, the last 6 posts I had written were using AI. So I have generated images using AI, and people talk about like how dangerous AI is, but I think that is basically coming to help you, to aid you. So where we are going with all of that is that despite of all of the challenges that we face to get here, it is still not too late. Okay, so whatever you've been thinking, even if you want to go to art, science, biology, you will always be contributing into the innovations of those places. You will always be contributing into the researches of those places. So don't think about tech as someone who's like too geeky and you will be just locking yourself in a room and just sort of doing coding, and that'll be too boring. Absolutely not. It's totally the other way around. It in fact opens a plethora of stuff for you to explore. Right? It's a gateway to pretty much everything that you do and you want to do in your life. And the last bit I would want to say is that, up until now, I would always feel like that confidence is probably your superpower. If you're very confident about something, if you have the clarity of your thoughts, then I think you have nailed pretty much everything. You have conquered the world, and everything is in your face now. But I think lately, I would rather say coding is a superpower, okay? If you learn and understand coding, I think nothing is there which you cannot beat, okay? So this is something definitely, even if you want to explore different areas, I would encourage you to still be very open-minded to learn coding. Yeah. Now, I think one of the things that people keep asking me about is that how would it be if we enter software engineering and the whole industry has been male-dominated, and would we get mentors and supports? I would say the tide is changing. Yes, it was like that, I think, 20 years ago. And is it still, do we still have 50% of parity? Absolutely not. But we are getting there. But despite of all of that, I think you have got the best mentorship and the support that you can get in an organization. You have people like us, you have people like Martin who can help you, guide you to climb up the ladder. And I think keeping up on the whole fun part, which my goddaughter asked me to do, so I think I'm going to do a very, very real fun quiz for real or fake. So this is the first thing, a robot that can fold your laundry. Do you think, is it possible today? Is it real or fake? Real. Oh, wow, everyone thinks it's real. How many of you think it's real? Perfect. How many of you think it's fake? It is real. It is absolutely real. You can have a robot that can actually do your laundry for sure. Let's do the second one. An app that lets you talk to your dolphins. Are you discussing? Do you think there is an app that can let you talk to dolphins? Who says yes? I am going to take you back in my office and you are going to code it for me, because that is not happening today for sure, okay? Sorry about that, guys. Third one, is there an app that can turn your spoken words into a cartoon animation? Yeah? Just all of you think it's real? It is real? It is absolutely real. This is such a basic thing, to do, yeah? Brilliant. The last one on my list is, can a drone plant a tree? Whoa, that's a majority win. Absolutely, you can do it. So there's only one fake one, and I think I still have got too many candidates who think that is possible. So you see, we are living in the future already. Brilliant, guys. That's it. I think I'm gonna skip the tongue twister for sure. But if you want to take it home back, then this is the one for you. All right. Cool. That's my time, guys. Have a good one, and we'll speak to you again. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Next, I'd like to invite invite Alison, who was a student here a few years ago and works just down the road.
So I'm Alice. I took computing here for GCSE and A-level when it was first introduced. Prior to that, I'd never ever programmed before, and I didn't know anyone who had. I'd never really played video games, and I still don't. I've never been interested in the latest phone or laptop, and I'm still not. Even though a lot of people I work with are, it's not a requirement to do this. I enjoyed programming at GCSE, even though I wasn't particularly good at it at the time. I kept it on for A-levels because I still enjoyed it. And when deciding what to take for university, I left it to the very last minute to decide what subject to take. I was split between geography and computer science, two very different subjects. Part of the reason I was hesitant to take computer science was I didn't know if I'd enjoyed software development as a job. I didn't know if I was going to be any good at it, and I definitely didn't fit the stereotype I thought there was. The only reason I picked it was, when considering what I'd be happy to do every day, programming was one of those things, and there were lots of jobs out there. Once getting to university, it turns out a lot of people on the course hadn't programmed before, so I'd actually had a head start having programmed for 4 years. As part of university, I took a year in industry, and I'd recommend anyone to take work experience or summer internships or a year in industry if you get the chance. It's a great way to see if you actually enjoy the job without committing to anything. And I know quite a few friends that have ended up switching careers because it turns out they didn't enjoy what they thought they would. I interned at Sophos, which is a cybersecurity company in Aberdeen down the road, and 5 years later, I'm still working there. Within the first week or so, I was paired with someone who was my mentor for the year, and I was making code changes that customers were seeing a month later. And it's a very much learn by doing job, and it's a very quick turnaround, and that suits me, as I've never been particularly academic. The job itself is quite varied. I work in a team of about 8 to 10 people, and that changes most years. And you work on projects which sometimes could last from 6 months to a year, or it could be a tiny piece of work that only requires one person for a couple of days, or 3 to 4 people for a month. Generally, I'm either adding new features, fixing existing bugs found by customers or internal testers, or just doing testing. On a day-to-day basis, my job title is software engineer, a full-stack software engineer, and I spend most of my time programming. Even though I work remotely 3 to 4 days a week, it's a lot more social than you'd imagine. I'm usually on video calls with people, either helping them or being helped. I was on a call this morning helping someone. And you may imagine maths or physics would feature heavily in the job, and as lots of university degrees do require you to take a STEM subject to take computer science for it. There are lots of jobs out there that do require that. There's research jobs, etc., but a lot of them don't, and mine especially I don't. Barely do much maths and definitely no physics. What is required more is the ability to problem solve well and keep independently learning, as there are constantly new tools or languages which you come across and you end up using. So I hope you understand that anyone can do it, really, even if you don't believe you can. Thank you.
Now I'd like to bring Alex up, who also was a student here. And just got to set you up with your PowerPoint. You're going to have to use the clicker on it.
Awesome. Hi everyone, I'm Alex. I left Headington in 2019 and I'm now hydrographic surveyor, which means that this boat is actually my office, and my job is basically mapping the seafloor. We look around like important infrastructure like wind farms, or if there's new wind farms to look at, or even oil rigs, which is a bit controversial, but you know. How did I get to being a hydrographic surveyor? Well, for A-level, I took computer science, geography, and business. Then I left and took a gap year where I went to Cambodia and taught business skills using my business A-level to young entrepreneurs out there. Then I came back and I did a degree in marine geography at Cardiff University. So while I was there, I also was in the touch rugby club, and I was part of the Royal Navy unit, and I also did a couple of ultramarathons, so I'm a little bit crazy. But yeah, so how did I... Oh, yeah, so where is computer science important in like my career journey so far? Well, I had to have a science A-level to get into my degree, and computer science counted. Actually, it was so much more useful than I thought it was going to be. Probably more useful than biology or chemistry would have been. I actually ended up using my programming skills and my computer science skills in 12 out of 20 of my modules, which are like the little classes that you do at university. And I had to use it in my first assignment at uni, even though they didn't explicitly say anywhere that I needed to have programming skills. And now I use my programming skills every day at work, even other soft skills that you have from computer science, like problem solving and troubleshooting, I use all the time. So I thought it might be a bit confusing to have someone as a geographer up here talking about programming. So here's some of the examples of where I used my programming skills at university. So if you see the top figure of Antarctica, this is from my dissertation that I did at uni. That's the big project that you do. I had to use MATLAB, which is a Python-based programming language. It basically held together my whole dissertation. And yeah, all the statistics that I had to do, all of the big data handling, that was all within coding. Below that, that's an image of a software that we learnt to use to map the seafloor, which is what I do today. So we were learning new software, and I used more of the kind of problem solving and troubleshooting skills that I'd learned from computer science. Next, if you see in the top right corner the image of the dam, this is something I created using CAD, which is computer-aided design. I used it for my presentations at university to try and get across my point that I couldn't necessarily get across just through words. So this is a dam I was proposing to build. And then the bottom corner, that is a program called ArcGIS. This was my first assignment that I had at university. And they expected us to not only learn a new software, but be able to code within the software for the first thing that we did. So lots of people struggled with that, but I had the background in computer science, so I could focus on other things I was finding hard at the time. Yeah, so I thought I'd do a little bit of myth busting, because at GCSE, or even before that, I thought you had to be really, really smart to be able to do computer science. I got a B in GCSE computer science, and I thought there's no way that I can do this at A-level. But I did really enjoy the subject. I liked the things like 3D printing and little bits of problem solving, even if it did get frustrating at times. And then I went on and did it at A-level. I got a D at A-level, which at the time felt like a complete failure. But actually, I think it was just hard at school, so that it's been really easy throughout the rest of university. And yeah, I put this little article up about people getting, people who have got not all A stars at A-levels or GCSEs. And actually, I think this does reflect in a lot of the people who ended up being the smartest people around me by the end of university were people who had got Ds at GCSEs or A-levels. And actually, I think like that doesn't mean that you shouldn't work hard. You should work hard, try and get those good grades, but a grade doesn't define you. And I think try and look at what else you're going to get from the subjects that you're taking other than just a grade in it. What skills are you going to be able to take out from the subjects that you're learning? And yeah, being able to learn coding has completely changed how my university career went. So yeah, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. But, yeah.
I think we've been incredibly lucky today to hear from 4 fantastic speakers and hopefully bust some myths. And you guys in your lessons have contributed some questions that we'd like to open to the wider panel that are some of the questions that you have about careers in computer science. But before we do, can we give a big hand to Grace, Rashi, Alice and Alex for just fabulous talks. That was absolutely brilliant. So each member of the panel has a mic, so at any point if you wish to take the mic and contribute to this discussion, but it'll be over to you. I don't know if anybody, we've published these questions first, if anybody has a question that they're particularly interested in answering, or shall I just pull one out the bag? Yes. That's great. Which one was that? So let's. You want? So that's Melissa.
Can you hear me? Okay. So hi everyone. My name's Elspeth Briscoe. I'm an entrepreneur, a tech entrepreneur. I was person number 30 at eBay, which you might have come across, and I was also strategy director at Skype. So I love those companies that break the rules, disruptive tech companies, and I've also managed teams of hundreds of software developers, and they are the coolest people. But the reason I'm here is to answer your questions, really. So I someone has asked a question about role models that I've looked up to. So I was incredibly privileged to work for a lady called Meg Whitman, who is the CEO of eBay, and I worked in Silicon Valley for her. So she was an amazing role model, and this was 10 years ago, and it was highly unusual to get women in tech then, and it still is. Until recently, in my company, and I'm a CEO now, ran a team of all men. So for me, it was incredible to have a woman running a company like that was very, very successful. She went on to become the CEO of Hewlett-Packard, and she was very visionary. Part of the reason was she believed in diverse teams, and she also built a company that was incredible to work in. It was really fun. They believed in nutrition, so people have asked questions about software developers and kind of the lifestyle that you have. So very happy to answer questions about that, but one of my role models was Meg Whitman.
Thank you very much. Does anybody else have any role models? Right, yes, this is Marion from Upper 3 BC. You asked, what is your favourite part of your job?
Sure. Hello, Avram Tekishin. I work for a software company. I used to do software engineering many, many moons ago, but now I'm in an IT industry, information technology. So we work with large organizations like the ones mentioned, like the eBays of the world, Netflix, Amazon. So our company, my company, makes sure that software works and you get what you wanted from them. So the question from Marion is, what's your favorite part of my job? I love being in IT. That's if I were to turn back time and if I had the chance to do something else, I would do exactly the same. It's a very flexible world, technology world. We can work from everywhere, and I'm privileged to work with large organizations, the big banks, big retailers, and we solve problems, real world problems through the technology. And also being in technology, I have 2 teenagers, one of them is in Headington, so I can keep up with them as well, so that keeps me on my toes. And it's an ever-changing industry, so you never know what's around the corner. When I first started in this, the industry, we were happy that we could spell a word through a coding. So, where we are now is amazing. So it's really exciting, the technology to be in, and I really recommend it.
Thank you very much.
There we go. Hi, I'm going to jump on that. Is this on? Yes. Yeah, perfect. Thanks. Yeah, I'm going to jump on that and say, technology as an industry to be in is a fantastic industry if you're looking for something that's A, well paid, and B, a really good work-life balance. So I think you were mentioning, like, many of us work remotely or work in different environments. I get to work around the world. If you want that, the opportunity is there. If you want to work part-time because you're going to have a family or have kids or you're caring for someone, that's possible too. And the nice thing is, as I said, is it's a well-paying industry as well. There's a lot of jobs available at the moment, and that's probably going to continue to grow as technology sort of becomes sort of almost all-consuming in every aspect of life. So yeah, if you're looking for a job that is great for skills development, interesting around problem solving, but pays well and offers good work-life balance, technology is a fantastic industry to get into. And there's loads of different roles. You don't just have to code. I think we've shown that today in all of our different jobs. If you want to go and do marketing, you can do marketing in tech. Or if you want to be a manager in tech. There's things like tech writing, where people write about and document the code and how to use it. There's also jobs like mine where we speak about code. So there's loads of different roles out there. So definitely take a look and maybe consider tech as an industry, even if you're not going to go into pure coding necessarily.
Anybody else? So we've got a really interesting question from Polina in Lower 4 A and B, which is, how do people view women in software engineering and the tech industry? Are they viewed differently from men? So I wondered if anybody had a view on that.
Yeah. Is it working? Hello? Yeah. I would say normal, okay? I think, like I said before, things are changing. Yes, we see male men going into tech more than women, and it's not because they want to and we did not. It's the fact that okay, so let's put it that way. So let's take a bit of a step back. Male is not dominating that industry. It's the fact that they're just going for it, and we have just been holding back, right? So, and it might just be a bit of a conditioning, a bit of our societal, prejudice, etc. But I think right now, today, everything is equal, and we're living in this era where women and men are being treated equally. And when I work in a software engineering department, and if someone asks me that how's your life as a woman, I would just say exactly the same as another man from my team would do, which is exactly normal and exactly equal, right? So there would be different parts of the company where you might just find that your skills are better suited, so you might go in that department. And probably traditionally, and I have to be very honest with you saying that, traditionally I had felt that women were not encouraged to go into tech because they think that tech was hard and women are not meant to work hard. Okay, so when I was starting as a DevOps engineer, I remember everyone, including women who I was working with, told me that this DevOps industry is not for you. And I said, why? Because they said, oh, you're going to be doing late hours there. You're going to be coming early morning in the offices as well. Would you be ready for it? And I was a rebel back then. So I was like, yeah, bring it on. I'm happy to do it. But when I joined DevOps, I have realized how other women, other people who were looking up to me, they also joined DevOps, right? And it just sort of started to grow and grow and grow. And today we're living in an industry where I won't say it's 50-50 because this is why we are here. We want to make it 50-50. But now I would say it's still like 40-60. 40% of people are women in the place that I work in. And there is definitely a bit of a gap that can be filled as we make this whole thing a bit more normal. So I think we need to start eliminating and excluding women as a terminology from our discussions. It has to be based on merit. So if you have the talent, if you have the confidence, if you have the merit, this is your gig and this is your stage. Okay, so just don't think that it's any different for women than it is for men. Just consider yourself equal. If you don't do it, then how would others, is my question to you, right? So you have to start treating and seeing yourself as equal as any other person in any other field. Cool, thank you.
I've got something to add to that, if that's okay. Hi everyone, hopefully you can see me now. So yeah, traditionally, and I agree with what you said actually, traditionally there's a lot of software developers who are males, and in fact in my company Our entire software development team is male, but our board, and I've recently hired some women on the board, are mixed, so females. So we have someone who is a Cambridge engineer, a woman who's on the board. We have someone who's this ex-COO of a big company. So really it's up to you guys to change that status quo. And I think it is changing really quickly now. And there's so many opportunities, and it's such an exciting space to be in. So the opportunities are there, and actually the government is supporting funding coming into women who create their own businesses as well. So being an entrepreneur as well as a developer is a good place to be right now.
I don't know if we've got a little bit of time, but I think we've answered a lot of the questions that you posed. I don't know if anybody else has got a question they want to ask. I have a roving mic if anybody wishes to ask another question from the audience, if anyone's feeling brave enough. Anything that you're thinking of? No? Because I think we've covered. Does anybody want to, anything on there that we haven't covered? Yeah, Alex.
All right, there was a question about the most important characteristics of a good coder by Isabel in Upper 3. I think patience is really important. I've seen a lot of people starting out in coding or trying to learn new things, and they expect it to come really fast. You know, I didn't really see myself as a good coder until I got into university. And, you know, that's 3 or 4 years of coding, but even in your everyday, in the everyday programming, you have to be patient. You're going to come across bugs and bits that are wrong and bits that you have to fix all the time, and that takes patience. I think that's really important for a good coder. Yeah.
Yes, we are ready to finish.
Okay, can I just say
yeah,
something?
absolutely.
I just want to say, I think it's absolutely fabulous to have people here. One of the proudest things I do, and the best thing I do, is when our old students come back, and we've got Alex and Alison here, and talking about what they did, and they all came from here at the school. And I hope that you will be inspired to go off and break those barriers, get into coding, or something else, and come back and stand in the hall and tell everybody what you've done in your life, because you have so many opportunities. So that's really what I wanted to say. I'm sure you've got your own end as well.
And just to add to that, Headington has this thing called Headington Connect, which connects our alumni and parents together. And this is one of the most powerful things. It's a fantastic thing here. All of our amazing panelists and speakers today answered the call for a PSHE lesson session about women in coding. And what's incredible is how the Headington community supports you guys in your future decisions and careers. So I think a big hand for all of our panelists. It's been fantastic. Thank you very much for listening.